They measured every cadet's reflexes. The human broke the machine and asked, "Was that fast enough?" The floor beneath their boots gleamed like liquid silver, reflecting the bright lights from above. Around them, towering alien instructors moved with calm precision, their many limbs folding and unfolding in silent grace. The human cadets, Eli among them, took cautious steps, their eyes wide with wonder and curiosity. Eli was not the tallest cadet in his group, nor the strongest. His uniform was slightly wrinkled, and his boots bore the faint scratches of a long journey across the star lanes. Yet there was a spark in his eyes, a mixture of determination and quiet confidence, that immediately drew attention. Among a sea of alien cadets with 6 arms, 4 eyes, or mechanical limbs, he looked ordinary. But ordinary did not mean unremarkable. Ahead of the group, the massive testing facility loomed like a monument to logic and precision. Its walls were sleek, curved, and metallic, reflecting the lights of the platform. Strange symbols flickered along its surface, signs that only those trained in alien languages could understand. The facility was designed to measure everything: reflexes, intelligence, strategy, and adaptability. Cadets from all corners of the galaxy had trained their entire lives for this moment, hoping to impress the Academy's instructors and survive the test. The aliens whispered among themselves as they walked. Each of them had been born into a culture where speed, logic, and efficiency were prized above all else. They had grown up knowing exactly how to respond to these tests. Every reflex, every decision, had been practiced 1,000 times in simulations. Failure was nearly impossible, unless, of course, something unexpected happened. Eli noticed the murmurs, but he did not flinch. Instead, he scanned the facility carefully, as if trying to understand its structure. The walls hummed faintly, vibrating with energy. Lights blinked along the ceiling in patterns that reminded him of old human circuits, and he could almost see the logic behind them. It was not fear that ran through him, it was curiosity. He wanted to see how this machine worked, not just survive it. The instructor, a tall alien with smooth green skin and 6 fingers on each hand, stepped forward. Its voice was deep and resonant, though the words were translated instantly into the cadets' native languages. "Welcome to the reflex testing facility," it said. "Here your speed, accuracy, and adaptability will be measured against our most advanced machines. Only those who succeed will advance to the next stage of the Academy. Step forward when called." The other cadets lined up quickly, their bodies tensed in anticipation. Eli stepped back for a moment, letting the others go first. He watched carefully as one alien after another approached the machine, a device that looked like a combination of a holographic interface and a moving target simulator. Lights flashed rapidly, and robotic arms swung into positions with perfect timing. Each cadet's reflexes were measured in milliseconds. The room was filled with soft beeps and occasional bright flashes, signaling scores and errors. First was a quadruped alien, its 4 legs moving in perfect coordination as it responded to the machine. Lights blazed around it, and the robot arms seemed to challenge every possible movement. The alien completed the sequence almost flawlessly. The machine chimed, recording a near-perfect score. Other cadets followed, a 3-eyed species with long tentacles, a robotic-enhanced hybrid that moved with mechanical precision. They performed admirably, each showing the results of years of practice. Eli's turn was called. He stepped forward, his boots making a soft echo on the metallic floor. The other cadets glanced at him, some with polite curiosity, others with thinly veiled skepticism. "Human," one muttered in a whisper. "How can he hope to compete?" Eli ignored them. He focused on the machine ahead. The lights danced in patterns that seemed impossible to memorize. The robotic arms moved with blinding speed, swinging from side to side. Most cadets would approach this moment with intense concentration and fear of failure. Eli felt neither. Instead, he studied the machine, noticing patterns that others missed. The lights repeated in cycles, the arms had slight delays between movements, and the machine always returned to a starting position. He took a deep breath and began. His movements were not rigid or robotic like some of the other cadets. Instead, they flowed naturally. He predicted the lights before they appeared, positioned his hands before the targets arrived, and adapted instantly when the sequence changed. The machine accelerated, trying to overwhelm him. The lights flashed faster, the arms swung with irregular patterns, but Eli's reflexes kept up. He moved in a rhythm that seemed almost intuitive, as if he were dancing rather than competing. The instructors watched silently. Some leaned forward, their multi-limbed hands resting on their knees. This human was doing something no other cadet had managed. He was not just following the machine, he was reading it, predicting it, anticipating its next move. By the end of the sequence, the machine began to emit faint warning sounds. Its internal sensors struggled to keep up. The robotic arms wavered slightly, lights flickered, and the holographic targets jumped irregularly. Yet Eli remained steady. With one final movement, he hit the last target perfectly. The machine stuttered and powered down momentarily as if exhausted. Eli stood there, breathing lightly, and asked calmly, "Was that fast enough?" A hush fell over the room. The instructors exchanged surprised glances. The cadets stared, some in admiration, others in disbelief. The machine had never been stopped like this before. It had never faced a cadet who moved not just with speed, but with creativity, intuition, and adaptability. The green-skinned instructor stepped forward, its voice measured but tinged with awe. "Remarkable. Human reflexes exceed expectations." Eli simply nodded and stepped back. He did not boast. He did not gloat. He was curious about the next challenge. What could this machine possibly do now? How could the tests adapt to a human who did not follow the rules in the expected way? The other cadets, meanwhile, were quietly analyzing his movements. Some tried to mimic his flowing gestures. Others whispered strategies among themselves. One thing was clear: humans were unpredictable. Their approach could not be calculated by the same logic that governed alien reflexes. As Eli walked away from the machine, he caught sight of the training simulator nearby. It was a room designed for group reflex challenges, where cadets would have to react not only to machines but also to each other. He smiled faintly. This was only the beginning. If one human could break a machine alone, what could an entire human team do in a cooperative test? The whispers continued. "He moved like water," one cadet said. "No, like wind," another corrected. "No one could predict him," a third added. Eli didn't hear them. His mind was already turning, calculating possibilities, noticing patterns, and imagining challenges ahead. He felt a human thrill that came from curiosity, challenge, and the excitement of testing limits. The academy had many tests, many machines, and many brilliant cadets. But he had learned something already. The human mind, combined with reflexes and creativity, was a force even the most advanced technology could not fully measure. For the first time in the Academy's history, a human had not just passed the reflex test, he had rewritten what was possible. And Eli, without arrogance, without fear, without hesitation, was ready to see just how far humans could go. The morning sun of the Academy's dome cast long reflections across the polished floors. Eli walked with a steady pace, his boots echoing softly. Today was the next stage of testing, and the air buzzed with anticipation. Cadets from across the galaxy gathered in the central hall, stretching their limbs and checking their gear. The reflex test had already made waves among the instructors. Eli's performance was a topic of quiet conversation and amazed glances. Unlike the previous day, today's challenge was more complex. It was no longer just about moving hands and hitting targets. The machine had evolved, integrating multiple sequences at once. Holographic targets, moving obstacles, timed sequences, and unpredictable patterns. This was the test designed to separate the truly exceptional from the merely skilled. Aliens of all shapes and sizes stood in lines, readying themselves. The six-limbed Quarvans flexed their joints with smooth precision, scanning the room and calculating sequences in their heads. The tentacled Zelari swirled their limbs in anticipation, their multiple eyes tracking every motion of their competitors. Some cadets whispered strategies, others remained silent, focusing inward. Eli observed quietly. He did not need to speak. He had learned the rhythm of the machine yesterday, but he also knew today was different. The sequences were not random but adaptive. They would change based on how cadets reacted. The machine learned. It evolved. And yet Eli felt a familiar thrill, curiosity, challenge. The joy of pushing limits. The instructor, the same tall green-skinned alien from yesterday, addressed the cadets. "Today, your reflexes, speed, and decision-making will be tested under complex, unpredictable conditions. This stage is not just about hitting targets. You must adapt, you must anticipate, and you must remain calm under pressure." Eli nodded to himself. Adaptation was the key. He had something most cadets did not, creativity. While others relied solely on reflexes, he relied on intuition as well. His mind could read patterns, imagine sequences, and adjust instantaneously. That combination, speed and creativity, made him different. One by one, the cadets approached the first sequence. Lights flashed across the room, moving walls rotated, and mechanical arms swung in intricate arcs. The Quarvens moved with robotic precision, hitting every target in order. The Zelari followed, their tentacles snaking through the air, capturing targets with swift efficiency. Scores appeared on the digital monitors above. Perfect marks almost flawless, but there were slight imperfections. Even the best cadets had limits. Finally, it was Eli's turn. He stepped forward, placing his hands lightly on the starting pads. The room went quiet. Some cadets watched with curiosity, some with disbelief. Could a human possibly match the combined speed and precision of multiple alien limbs? The sequence began. Holographic targets appeared in random order, some spinning, some flashing at varying speeds. Mechanical arms swung from multiple directions, and moving obstacles forced cadets to shift position constantly. Most cadets relied on rigid timing, reacting after the target appeared. Eli, however, anticipated. He noticed patterns that no other cadet could see. Slight pauses in the arms' rotation, the angles of holograms, even subtle hums in the room that hinted at timing. His movements were smooth. His hands darted, adjusted, and flowed with the sequences. When a spinning hologram veered unexpectedly, he tilted his body and tapped it mid-motion. When an obstacle swung too close, he ducked, pivoted, and responded without hesitation. Each motion seemed effortless, though the speed was extraordinary. The instructors watched with keen interest. The machine itself began to react differently. Sensors triggered unexpected sequences, adaptive rotations, and random patterns designed to confuse cadets. Lights blurred, arms swung faster, and holograms multiplied. Some cadets faltered, their precision slipping as the machine tested their limits. Eli, however, adapted. He moved as if he were part of the machine, merging instinct with calculation. His mind processed not just the immediate challenge but the sequences ahead. His body responded in perfect harmony. One moment he tapped a fast-moving target with his right hand. The next, he adjusted his left to intercept a spinning arm, then shifted his weight to avoid a moving barrier. Each action was precise, fluid, and timely. For the first time, the machine emitted a low hum of confusion. Sensors registered readings that no cadet had ever produced. The holograms flickered, the robotic arms staggered, and the lights faltered. Eli did not pause. He continued, moving with natural grace as if the complexity of the test was a simple game. Observers gasped. One instructor whispered, "It is as if he can see the future." Another muttered, "No cadet, no alien has ever adapted like this." Meanwhile, some cadets tried to mimic his style, but they failed. They could not combine reflex, anticipation, and creativity at once. Their movements became frantic, and errors multiplied. It was not just speed that mattered. It was the ability to think while moving, to improvise, and to remain calm under pressure. Eli excelled in all three. The machine, sensing the anomaly, shifted again. It accelerated sequences exponentially. Lights blinked faster, arms swung unpredictably, holograms multiplied in every direction, and the floor subtly tilted to challenge balance. The room became a blur of motion and color. Most cadets froze, overwhelmed by the sudden increase in difficulty. Eli adjusted instantly. He took a steady breath, eyes scanning the environment. He moved his hands, then his feet, then his body in a series of instinctive reactions. He tapped, dodged, pivoted, and shifted with an elegance that seemed impossible. The other cadets watched in awe, realizing that speed alone could not win. Adaptability and creativity were equally important. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Eli reached the end of the sequence. The machine beeped, its sensors glowing red with overcapacity. Lights blinked erratically, robotic arms froze mid-motion, and holograms vanished. The room went silent. Eli, breathing lightly, stepped away from the starting pad. He did not look triumphant. He simply observed, curious about what the machine would do next. The instructors approached, their expressions a mix of surprise and admiration. The green-skinned alien spoke first. "Human, your performance exceeds expectations. Your ability to adapt, anticipate, and remain calm under extreme conditions is unprecedented." Eli nodded. "Thank you," he replied simply. There was no pride in his voice, only calm focus. He knew this was only the beginning. The real challenges lay ahead in scenarios that combined reflex, strategy, and teamwork. Other cadets whispered among themselves. Some were frustrated, others fascinated. One Zelari muttered, "He moves like water, like he is one with the machine." Another Quarvan admitted quietly, "We have never faced anything like this. He is extraordinary." Eli took a moment to study the room. The machine had paused, recalibrating for the next round. He noticed patterns in its pauses and flickers, predicting how it might challenge cadets next. The thrill of solving a complex problem filled him with excitement. Unlike the other cadets, who saw the machine as a challenge to survive, Eli saw it as a puzzle to understand and master. The stage was set for the next level. The tests would become more unpredictable, integrating multiple cadets, cooperative challenges, and scenarios that required split-second strategy alongside reflexes. Eli knew he could not rely on speed alone. He would need to combine observation, intuition, and instinct in ways that no machine or alien could fully anticipate. As he stepped back to rest briefly, he caught the eyes of some instructors. One of them, an elder alien with silver appendages, smiled faintly. "He is not just fast," the instructor whispered. "He is human, and humans always surprise us." Eli smiled faintly, feeling a quiet satisfaction. He had not only survived the second challenge, he had redefined what it meant to respond to impossible sequences. The other cadets would have to rethink their strategies for one simple reason. Humans did not follow rules. They adapted. They improvised. And they found solutions that machines could not predict. The room filled with a mixture of awe and tension. Tomorrow's tests promised to be even harder, with more unpredictable sequences and cooperative challenges. But Eli was ready. He had learned something critical. In the galaxy of highly trained cadets, human ingenuity was a weapon that no machine could fully counter. And for the first time in the Academy's history, the cadets realized that winning would require more than speed. It would require thinking like a human. The central hall of the Academy was silent, save for the low hum of machinery and the soft echoes of cadets moving through the polished corridors. Eli had spent the night thinking about the second stage of the challenge. The reflex test was no longer just a measure of speed or coordination. It was now a test of unpredictability, adaptability, and intelligence under pressure. And Eli knew, quietly and confidently, that humans had an advantage in all three. Today, the challenge would be different. The instructors had prepared the adaptive reflex machine, the most advanced simulator in the Academy. It was not just a test of speed or precision anymore. It could observe cadets, learn from their movements, and change patterns in real time. Its purpose was to push cadets to their limits and beyond. The cadets assembled in the large hall, their faces a mixture of excitement and tension. The Quarvans flexed their joints, their multi-limbed movements precise and calculated. The Zelari twirled their tentacles, preparing for sequences they had trained for since birth. Even the robotic-enhanced hybrids emitted quiet mechanical sounds as they readied themselves for the challenge. All eyes, however, often flicked toward the human cadet, Eli, whose calm demeanor and observant gaze made others uneasy. The green-skinned instructor addressed the group. "Today, you will face the adaptive reflex machine. Its programming evolves based on your actions. It anticipates, predicts, and responds. Cadets, this is not merely a test of speed or reflex. It is a test of your ability to adapt to uncertainty." A hush fell over the room. The machine itself dominated the center of the hall, a gleaming structure of metal and light, with holographic panels floating around it and robotic arms spinning in intricate patterns. Sensors tracked every motion, every heartbeat, every subtle change in stance or gaze. It had never failed a cadet, and it had never broken. Eli stepped forward. His movements were unhurried yet confident. He studied the machine, noticing the micro-patterns in its behavior, the slight hesitation in the arm swings, the predictable flicker in the holographic targets, the almost imperceptible delay between sequential movements. Most cadets would have been overwhelmed by the complexity. Eli saw it as a puzzle. The first sequence began. Lights flashed in rapid succession. Holographic targets appeared and disappeared in patterns that no other cadet had seen. Robotic arms swung from every direction, moving faster than the human eye could follow. Many cadets froze, miscalculating a movement or hitting the wrong target. Eli, however, moved differently. His reflexes were fast, yes, but his advantage lay in his prediction and adaptability. He anticipated where targets would appear, where the arms would swing, and even when the machine would introduce a sudden shift. His hands moved with a rhythm that seemed impossible, tapping, blocking, and redirecting in perfect harmony with the chaotic environment. The machine, sensing an anomaly, adjusted. It accelerated its sequences exponentially, creating overlapping patterns that should have been impossible to follow. Holographic targets appeared in clusters, rotating and spinning at different speeds. Robotic arms swung erratically, moving faster than any cadet's reaction time should allow. The instructors watched in amazement. Even the most advanced cadets faltered under this sudden increase in complexity. Mistakes multiplied. Some fell to their knees, overwhelmed by the challenge. Others froze entirely, unable to process the speed and unpredictability. Eli, however, thrived. He moved with a fluidity that seemed almost unnatural. When a spinning hologram appeared at a difficult angle, he adjusted his body to reach it midair. When robotic arms swung from multiple directions, he timed his movements to intersect them with perfect precision. He adapted in real time, his mind calculating patterns even before they fully formed. For the first time, the machine produced an alert signal, a continuous hum that indicated its systems were under extreme stress. Lights flickered, panels glitched, and robotic arms twitched unpredictably. Sensors recorded readings that the system had never generated before. The instructors leaned forward, exchanging worried glances. This had never happened. The adaptive reflex machine had never faced a cadet who could outthink it. Eli noticed the subtle shifts in the machine's behavior. Its reactions were no longer perfectly synchronized. Small delays appeared, which he exploited. He tapped, dodged, and moved in ways that created cascading patterns, forcing the machine to respond faster than it could. Each movement he made increased the stress on the system. Some cadets attempted to follow him, mimicking his style, but failed. Their movements were rigid, calculated, lacking creativity. The machine continued to adapt to their mistakes, pushing them further into failure. Eli, by contrast, thrived in the chaos, seeing possibilities that others could not. Minutes passed, and the room seemed to pulse with tension. The adaptive reflex machine, designed to test and never fail, began to falter. Panels flickered rapidly, robotic arms stuttered mid-swing, and holograms glitched. The hum of the machine shifted into an almost anxious tone. No cadet had ever brought it to this state. Eli continued, calm and precise. Each motion was deliberate, yet fluid, exploiting every delay, every micro-pattern in the machine's behavior. The instructors watched in awe as the machine approached its limits. It was a moment that had never occurred in the Academy's long history. Finally, with a swift and unexpected sequence, Eli completed the final pattern. The machine emitted a loud, continuous alarm, then powered down momentarily. Lights went out, panels froze, and the robotic arms stopped midair. The room fell silent. Eli stood there, breathing evenly, a small smile on his face. He had not only completed the challenge, he had broken the machine, not through brute force, but through intelligence, adaptability, and human ingenuity. The instructors approached cautiously. The green-skinned alien spoke first, its voice filled with both surprise and admiration. "Human, your performance is unprecedented. You have not only completed the test, you have exceeded the limits of the adaptive reflex machine. Systems are overwhelmed, scores cannot be calculated accurately." Eli shrugged lightly. "I just adapted," he said simply. His tone was casual, but there was a quiet confidence in his voice. He had seen a challenge, understood it, and solved it, not with speed alone, but with creativity, observation, and instinct. The other cadets watched in stunned silence. Some were impressed, some frustrated, and some quietly worried. The Quarvens whispered among themselves. "He moved like water, unstoppable and unpredictable." The Zelari nodded slowly. "The machine cannot control him. He is different." Eli's human ingenuity had become clear. In a room filled with cadets trained for perfection, he had shown that thinking creatively, anticipating patterns, and improvising in the moment were just as important, perhaps even more important, than raw reflex speed. The instructors quickly gathered around, taking notes and exchanging glances. "This is remarkable," one whispered. "No cadet has ever challenged the machine in this way." Another added, "We may need to reconsider how we design tests for humans." Eli, meanwhile, stepped away from the machine and observed the reactions of others. Some cadets had fallen to the floor in frustration. Others stared blankly at the machine, trying to understand what had just happened. It was not just a victory, it was a redefinition of what was possible. Humans, they realized, were not limited by predictable patterns. They could innovate, improvise, and adapt in ways machines could not fully anticipate. The green-skinned instructor cleared its throat, regaining authority. "Cadets, the adaptive reflex machine is malfunctioning. We will have to reset the system before the next stage. Today has proven one thing: the human mind is unique. Your reflexes, your intuition, your creativity, they exceed expectations." Eli nodded once, acknowledging the praise without pride. For him, the thrill was not in breaking the machine. It was in understanding it, mastering it, and discovering the limits of possibility. He knew there were greater challenges ahead, ones that would test not only reflexes but strategy, teamwork, and decision-making under pressure. As cadets filed out of the hall, whispers followed Eli wherever he went. "The human, he broke the machine. No one has ever done that. How is that even possible?" Eli ignored the chatter. His mind was already moving forward, imagining the next challenge. The adaptive reflex machine was just the beginning. There were other tests, other cadets, and other scenarios where humans could redefine what it meant to succeed. For the first time in the Academy's history, a human had not just completed a challenge. He had forced the system to adapt to him. And in doing so, Eli demonstrated what humans had always been capable of: the ability to innovate, improvise, and triumph in ways no machine, or even the most advanced alien intelligence, could fully predict. The hall emptied slowly, leaving the adaptive reflex machine powered down and silent. Its systems were still recovering from the strain, and engineers scrambled to assess the damage. Eli, calm as ever, walked down the corridor, ready for whatever challenge lay ahead. The future was uncertain. The tests would grow harder, but one truth had become clear: humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and unstoppable when curiosity and creativity guided their actions. And as Eli disappeared around the corner, the instructors exchanged a knowing glance. "Humans," one whispered, "they always find a way." The academy buzzed with excitement the next morning. Word of Eli's performance had spread like wildfire, and whispers echoed through every hall. Humans were rare in the academy, and none had ever demonstrated such skill, intelligence, and adaptability. Some cadets viewed Eli with admiration, others with envy, and a few with thinly veiled fear. Eli moved quietly through the corridors, observing everything with calm curiosity. He had no desire to boast, yet he could sense the attention he drew. Cadets paused mid-step to watch him, instructors nodded in approval, and some aliens whispered strategies to one another. Everyone wondered, how could one human challenge what they had always believed were impossible standards? In the training grounds, the cadets assembled for the next phase. This challenge would not be a solo test. It would require cooperation, strategy, and reflexes under pressure. Groups were assigned randomly, mixing species with different strengths, skills, and abilities. Eli found himself paired with a small team of diverse cadets: a Quarvan, a Zelari, and a robotic hybrid. The combination seemed awkward at first, each member used to their own way of thinking, but Eli smiled faintly. Adaptation was key. The instructor, the familiar green-skinned alien, addressed the teams. "Today, your challenge is the collaborative reflex scenario. You will face multiple moving targets, timed sequences, and obstacles that require coordination. Individual skill alone will not be enough. Communication, strategy, and teamwork are required." Cadets nodded. Some were confident, others apprehensive. Eli felt a quiet thrill. This was no longer about breaking machines. It was about showing that humans could lead, adapt, and solve problems in collaboration. The challenge began. Holographic targets appeared in unpredictable patterns, robotic arms swung from multiple directions, and obstacles moved with chaotic speed. Teams had to divide responsibilities, communicate quickly, and anticipate each other's actions. Many cadets faltered in the first few minutes, confused by the speed and unpredictability. Eli's team, however, moved differently. He began quietly observing his teammates, noting their strengths and weaknesses. The Quarvan had remarkable speed but tended to overreact. The Zelari had precision but was slow to adapt. The robotic hybrid executed commands perfectly but could not anticipate new patterns. Eli took the lead, not by commanding, but by predicting sequences, suggesting timing adjustments, and guiding the team subtly. "Quarvan, take the left targets first," he said calmly. "Zelari, handle the center. Hybrid, cover the top and coordinate with us. Follow my lead." His teammates nodded, trusting his judgment. At first, the coordination was rough. They collided, missed targets, and hesitated. But Eli's guidance was patient and clear. Slowly, they found a rhythm. The Quarvan adjusted its timing, the Zelari moved with more confidence, and the hybrid synced perfectly. Together, they became faster and more precise than any cadet could manage alone. The instructors watched, amazed. "The human is not just fast," one whispered to another. "He can lead, coordinate, and adapt all in real time." Other teams struggled. Many relied solely on raw speed or calculated sequences, failing when unexpected changes occurred. Eli's team, by contrast, flowed like a single organism. They adjusted instantly when obstacles shifted, shared targets efficiently, and anticipated the machine's attempts to disrupt them. Minutes passed, and the complexity increased. Multiple holographic targets appeared simultaneously, robotic arms moved unpredictably, and obstacles began changing positions randomly. Even the best alien teams faltered, their rigid planning and reliance on predictable patterns making them slow to adapt. Eli, however, thrived. He anticipated every twist, every shift, and every pattern change. His guidance was subtle but effective, nudging his teammates to perform beyond their usual limits. Each movement of his body, each command, each glance, influenced the team without overtly directing them. The machine reacted. Its sensors detected patterns it could not predict. Panels blinked, robotic arms staggered, and holograms flickered. For the first time, even the collaborative machine challenge seemed unsure of how to respond. The instructors exchanged worried glances. "It is as if the human controls the machine indirectly," one muttered. By the end of the sequence, Eli's team had completed the challenge flawlessly. Every target was hit, every obstacle avoided, and the team moved with precision and speed unmatched by others. The hall erupted with murmurs of awe. Cadets looked at Eli with newfound respect, and whispers of admiration grew louder. Some aliens, however, were frustrated. One Quarvan muttered angrily to its teammate, "How is he doing this? He is human." "It should not be possible," another Zelari shook its tentacles. "We have trained for years, and he, one human, outperforms us." Eli remained calm. He did not gloat or boast. He understood that his advantage came not from arrogance, but from curiosity, observation, and the ability to adapt. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but that unpredictability was a strength, a tool, and a force multiplier in teamwork and problem-solving. After the exercise, the instructors gathered around Eli. "Human," the green-skinned alien said, "you have not only excelled individually, but have also shown remarkable ability to lead and coordinate. Your performance is unprecedented. Other cadets should take note. Raw skill alone is insufficient. Humans have unique advantages." Eli nodded once. "I just observed, adapted, and worked with my team," he replied simply. His voice was quiet but full of confidence. "That's what humans do." The recognition spread quickly. Cadets whispered to one another, observing that humans were unpredictable, innovative, and capable of improvisation. Some admired this quality, others feared it. Rivalries began to form, not just because of competition, but because Eli had revealed something unsettling. Humans were different in ways that could not be measured by machines alone. By evening, the academy was alive with speculation. Teams discussed strategies, trying to figure out how to counter Eli's influence. Some aliens attempted to predict his moves, analyzing his gestures and timing. Others admitted quietly that human ingenuity was beyond their calculations. In the dormitories, cadets clustered in groups, debating. "We cannot predict him," a Quarvan said. "Every time we try to anticipate, he adapts faster." And Zelari nodded. "It is not speed alone, it is his creativity. We have never seen this before." Eli, however, sat quietly in his room, reviewing the day in his mind. He did not feel pride. He felt excitement. The next challenges would be harder. They would test not only reflexes and teamwork, but also strategy, decision-making, and adaptability under extreme conditions. He welcomed the thought. That night, Eli reflected on what he had learned. Humans had an advantage that others often overlooked, the ability to think differently, to see possibilities that machines and aliens cannot, and to adapt instinctively. In a galaxy of predictable patterns, humans thrived in the unpredictable. When the morning came, the instructors announced the next phase of testing. This time, the challenge would involve a simulated interstellar scenario, combining reflexes, strategy, and real-time problem-solving. It would be the ultimate test for cadets to work individually and collaboratively under high pressure. Eli smiled faintly, feeling the familiar thrill of challenge. The previous tests had revealed one truth: humans do not follow rules, they create solutions. And wherever humans went, the rules of the game changed. Across the academy, cadets began preparing for the upcoming challenge. Some were nervous, some overconfident, and some quietly intrigued. But all had seen one undeniable fact: one human had already redefined what was possible. And if humans could achieve this individually and in a small team, what could they accomplish in larger, more complex scenarios? Eli moved through the corridors, observing quietly, learning the rhythms, studying patterns, and imagining the next challenge. The academy was a place of brilliance, innovation, and extraordinary talent, but it was also a place where humans could thrive. By the end of the day, recognition had shifted. Instructors praised his ingenuity, teammates respected his guidance, and even rivals could not ignore the truth. Humans were not the fastest by default, nor the strongest, but they were adaptable, inventive, and capable of turning impossible challenges into opportunities. Eli's presence had sparked a quiet revolution in thinking. Cadets across species began reevaluating their strategies, realizing that speed, strength, and raw precision were not enough. Adaptability, intuition, and creativity were now essential. And in the quiet moments, as Eli observed the stars from the academy windows, he smiled. This was only the beginning. Humans had shown their strength, but the galaxy held greater challenges. Machines, alien competitors, and unpredictable scenarios awaited, but Eli was ready. For the first time in the Academy's history, one truth was clear: humans did not just compete, they redefined the meaning of competition itself. And with that understanding, a new sense of rivalry, respect, and curiosity spread throughout the cadets. Humans had arrived, not as underdogs, but as innovators, leaders, and a force to be reckoned with. The Academy's dome was alive with energy. Today was the final stage of the interstellar cadet trials. This was the challenge every cadet had been preparing for, the ultimate test of reflexes, strategy, and teamwork under pressure. The hall was vast, filled with holographic projections of star systems, moving obstacles, and simulated threats designed to test every skill a cadet possessed. Eli stood quietly at the edge of the hall, observing the scenario. He had already proven himself in individual tests and collaborative challenges, but this simulation combined every skill in one: reflexes, intuition, adaptation, and strategy. Teams would compete not just against machines, but against one another in scenarios resembling real interstellar conflicts. The green-skinned instructor, flanked by other high-ranking instructors from across the galaxy, spoke to the cadets. This final stage will determine who advances to the top ranks of the Academy. The simulation tests speed, precision, adaptability, and teamwork. Remember, success depends not just on reflexes, but on ingenuity and cooperation. You will face unpredictable scenarios and evolving threats. Good luck! The cadets assembled in teams, their species and skill sets diverse. Many were confident, believing their years of training had prepared them for every possible scenario. Yet whispers of Eli's previous accomplishments rippled through the crowd. Humans were rare in the Academy, and this one human had already outperformed machines and multiple alien cadets alike. Eli's team was composed of familiar faces: the Quarvan with unmatched speed, the Zelari with precise movements, and the robotic hybrid with flawless execution. Individually, they were impressive. Together, they were formidable. Yet Eli understood that true success required more than individual skill. It required coordination, adaptation, and intuition, the very qualities humans excelled in. The simulation began. The hall transformed into a holographic battlefield. Planets, asteroids, and energy barriers appeared around the cadets. Targets flashed across the space in unpredictable sequences, while robotic drones simulated enemy movements, firing obstacles and creating chaotic conditions. The machine adapted continuously, learning from each cadet's responses. Many teams struggled immediately. The speed of the simulation, combined with unexpected patterns and environmental changes, overwhelmed them. Some cadets froze, others overreacted, and many miscalculated, colliding with obstacles or missing crucial targets. Scores quickly dropped, and the instructors murmured about how this final stage was revealing true talent in real time. Eli observed his team carefully. Quarven focus on the left sector. Zelari cover the center and predict the drone patterns. Hybrid manage the top zones and communicate immediately if anything changes, he instructed calmly. His guidance was precise yet subtle. He did not force control, but instead enabled his team to adapt instinctively. At first, coordination was rough. The Quarven hesitated, the Zelari's timing was slightly off, and the hybrid struggled to integrate sudden changes. But Eli's calm presence, observations, and gentle guidance allowed the team to find rhythm quickly. Together, they moved as one, anticipating each other's actions and adjusting instantly to the simulation's chaos. The adaptive reflex machine, already tested in prior stages, recognized an anomaly. Its systems struggled to respond to unpredictable human strategies combined with coordinated teamwork. Holographic drones moved erratically, energy barriers shifted randomly, and targets appeared in overlapping patterns. The machine's algorithms were designed to challenge cadets, but this human-led team was proving impossible to predict. Eli moved fluidly through the chaos. His hands darted, tapping targets with precision. His eyes scanned patterns, anticipating changes before they occurred. When an energy barrier suddenly shifted, he adjusted his stance, signaling subtly to the Quarven to move faster. When a drone accelerated unexpectedly, he redirected the Zelari's attention to intercept. The hybrid synced its movements with theirs effortlessly. The other teams watched in awe and confusion. Many had underestimated the human cadet, thinking his previous victories were lucky or situational. Now it was clear, human ingenuity and adaptability were unmatched. Speed and precision were valuable, but creativity, intuition, and anticipation were equally powerful, qualities the human exemplified. Minutes passed, and the challenge intensified. Simulated meteor storms, shifting gravitational fields, and enemy drone swarms created chaotic conditions designed to overwhelm cadets. Many faltered. Some teams collapsed entirely, unable to respond to the unpredictable changes. Yet Eli's team thrived. They adapted instantly, anticipating shifts, redistributing tasks, and maintaining perfect coordination. The instructors observed with a mixture of awe and concern. "This is unprecedented," one whispered. "The human not only adapts individually but elevates the entire team." Another added, "His presence changes the outcome of the simulation itself. Machines cannot predict this level of creativity." Eli's calm focus never wavered. He noticed patterns the machine did not expect, small delays, subtle rotations, and recurring sequences that he used to guide his team. Each movement was deliberate yet instinctive. Unlike other cadets, he did not react passively. He influenced the simulation actively, creating opportunities for his team while neutralizing threats efficiently. The final phase of the simulation approached. A massive holographic enemy formation emerged, moving unpredictably and firing obstacles in multiple directions. Other teams struggled to respond, panicking under the speed and complexity. Many cadets collided or froze. The machine system emitted alarms, signaling overload as it attempted to adapt to the human-led team. Eli adjusted. He moved swiftly, signaling the Quarven to intercept left-side threats, guiding the Zelari to cover the center, and coordinating the hybrid to manage high-speed zones. Every movement was synchronized, yet flexible. The team flowed seamlessly, adapting instantly to the evolving scenario. The machine faltered. Panels flickered, holograms glitched, and simulated drones paused mid-flight, unable to respond to the unpredictability of human-led strategy. The instructors leaned forward, realizing what was happening. For the first time, the simulation could not fully challenge the human-led team. Their performance exceeded the limits of technology and alien prediction. Eli's final actions were decisive. He guided his team to intercept remaining threats efficiently, neutralizing obstacles and hitting every target perfectly. The holographic battlefield stabilized, and the simulation concluded with a quiet hum. Scores were calculated, and the results displayed on massive screens. Eli's team achieved a perfect record, a feat never accomplished before in Academy history. The hall erupted in astonished applause. Cadets stared at Eli and his team, some in admiration, others in disbelief. Instructors nodded in approval, exchanging glances filled with respect and awe. The green-skinned instructor stepped forward. "Human," it said, voice firm but impressed, "you have demonstrated a unique advantage today. Your ability to combine reflexes, intuition, creativity, and leadership has redefined success in these trials. You and your team have shown what humans are capable of." Eli smiled faintly, acknowledging the praise without pride. "Thank you," he said quietly. "We just worked together and adapted." Across the academy, the implications were clear. Humans were rare, but their abilities could not be ignored. Where other species relied on precision, calculation, and training, humans brought creativity, intuition, and adaptability. Machines, no matter how advanced, could not fully predict human ingenuity. Some cadets approached Eli after the challenge. I don't understand," admitted a young Quarven. "You moved in ways we could not even anticipate. How did you know what to do?" Eli chuckled softly. "We just observed, adapted, and worked together. That's what humans do. We find solutions even when the path isn't clear." The Quarven nodded slowly, a mixture of respect and disbelief on its face. Others in the room shared similar reactions. Humans had proven that speed and strength were not everything. Creativity, intuition, and teamwork were equally, if not more, important. That evening, the Academy held a formal recognition ceremony. Eli and his team received awards for exceptional performance, leadership, and ingenuity. Instructors spoke of the human advantage, emphasizing that adaptability and creativity could surpass even the most advanced training or technology. Cadets from other species whispered among themselves, realizing they would need to rethink strategies and expectations when humans were involved. Eli, however, remained humble. He understood the larger truth. The real challenge was not in winning awards or breaking machines. It was in continuing to push boundaries, to innovate, and to inspire others to think differently. As the stars of the simulated galaxy glowed overhead, Eli looked at the Academy's domed ceiling, reflecting the constellations beyond. He knew the future would hold greater challenges, larger simulations, and unexpected scenarios. Machines would grow more advanced, opponents more skilled, and stakes even higher. Yet humans had shown their unique advantage, an ability to adapt, create, and thrive in uncertainty. And in that moment, Eli realized something profound. Humans were not just survivors in a galaxy filled with incredible species and advanced technology. They were innovators, problem solvers, and leaders. Their unpredictability was their strength. Their ingenuity was unmatched. And when humans worked together, nothing could stop them. The cadets and instructors alike recognized it. A new era had begun at the Academy. One human had not just competed, he had redefined the rules. And wherever humans went, the universe would have to take notice. Eli turned to his team, a small smile on his face. "We did well," he said, "but there's more to learn and more to see. The galaxy is bigger than any simulation here." His teammates nodded, energized by the experience. They had witnessed the power of human adaptability and teamwork firsthand. Other cadets watched quietly, inspired and challenged by what they had seen. As the Academy's lights dimmed and the final ceremony concluded, Eli felt a quiet thrill. The trials were over, but the lessons remained. Humans had proven their advantage. They could adapt, innovate, and triumph where others relied solely on rules and calculation. And in the heart of the galaxy, a single truth shone brighter than any star. Humans do not just follow the rules, they redefine them.